XENOVERSE 2 DLCs have had quite the hold-up recently with the Daima pack being announced, because we were just going to get Future Saga Pack 3 and then Future Saga Pack 4. But with the Daima DLC in a way, we'll probably get the Daima one first, then Saga 3, then Saga 4. But I do believe with this extra time given to both of the Future Saga DLC packs, they'll be substantially better than their first two. And it brings me back to the topic of the villains, or at least the Ultra Super Villains for the DLC, because I already predicted that we were going to be getting Jiren, Golden Frieza, and DBS Broly. The only two now we have to wait for are Golden Frieza and DBS Broly. And I wanted to spend this video talking about DBS Broly because I've already talked about Golden Frieza. DBS Broly, I've changed my mind. He's probably going to be DLC 4 rather than DLC 3 at this pace. And that's because of the way DLC 3 story is going to go in Dragon Ball XENOVERSE 2. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. It's me again, Steve Dojo here, back with another Dragon Ball XENOVERSE 2. And this time I wanted to talk about Ultra Supervillain Broly because, again, we already know that the DBS characters are the ones that they're turning into Ultra Supervillains. First was Goku Black, then it was Jiren, next it's going to be Golden Frieza because just like Dragon Ball The Breakers, they forgot about Golden Frieza. And then obviously Dragon Ball Super Broly because he's basically the final boss of DBS. Since Cell Max obviously isn't playable, we're not going to get Ultra Super Villain Cell Max. So DBS Broly is basically the final boss of Dragon Ball Super. And I think because of that, they'll probably make him the last guy to be the Ultra Super Villain. I think they also know it'd be less hype to do Broly first and then Golden Frieza. That makes less sense. And the reason why I think Broly's going to be the last DLC Ultra Super Villain. And let me talk about Future Saga DLC Pack 3 first. So we did get a teaser in DLC Pack 2 that Content City would get destroyed in DLC Pack 3. And my best bet is that you could probably say someone like Tabora again because he hates everyone in Constant City, which is extremely fair. But I also think it could be the guy who keeps invading Constant City like every damn week, going Frieza already somehow has access to Content City, so I imagine they'll use that as like a lore point for how he got there. And maybe as an Ultra Super Villain, the Frieza Force can obviously just crash out basically and just throw Ki Blast everywhere and just nuke the whole place, right? I imagine it's a very simple, easy story to do. Not to mention Frieza. I don't think Frieza's been a villain in XENOVERSE 2 for a very long time. Frieza recently has regained clout in a sense with the Tournament of Power, the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, and being Black Frieza in a manga. And XENOVERSE 2 has not capitalized on Frieza's recent popularity, right? I say recent, but it's like 7 years old. That's when the Tournament of Power ended basically. But XENOVERSE 2 hasn't really done a lot with Frieza ever since then. I think the last time Frieza was relevant, or Golden Frieza was relevant, was actually the end of the base game. I think it was the Resurrection F arc at the end of the base game. He didn't show up in any of the DLC stories because I think the last DLC story we got was Superhero, the Future Saga DLCs. That's it. Yeah. Golden Frieza doesn't show up once. That's like Goku Black dominated. It's Vegeta dominated. Jiren dominated. Frieza doesn't show up in any of those. Even before then, when we got UI Sign beats Kid Buu. Like Frieza has not had. He hasn't shown up in ages. They are missing out on Golden Frieza clout, Golden Frieza hype, and I'm not saying that it needs to cash it on it, but it wouldn't be a bad investment. Another thing is that I think Ultra Super Villain characters are usually always done because the character is always missing a certain moveset to them. And Frieza is one of those characters. Broly also counts as one of those characters as well. Frieza is missing Earthbreaker from Resurrection F, the move he famously uses to destroy the planet. And he's missing basically every single move in the Tournament of Power because Frieza in XENOVERSE 2 was made way before the Tournament of Power finished, so we didn't know his full moveset. He doesn't have Great Death Beam. He doesn't have the Grudgeless Strike. He doesn't have his two-handed Death Ball that he uses against Toppo. He doesn't have the Miracle of Universe 7. I guess that would be a Team Ultimate of Goku, but you guys know what I mean. I think that's a good reason as to why Frieza would go first instead of Broly. And another reason why he's very obviously going to be picked as the DLC free character. Because Goku Black was missing his Scythe, so they had to give him his Scythe moves. Jiren was missing one specific attack that he used on Ultra Instinct Goku that was very cool, so even though it was the only addition they did, it's something, right? And if anything, Jiren getting a single move is more evidence that Frieza is going to be the next Ultra Super Villain, because he's missing literally he's missing, I think, a whole moveset. I think you could genuinely replace every single one of the 4 super attack slots and 2 ultimate slots with moves that Frieza should have had in the Dragon Ball Super anime. So they can easily do that. And now I want to talk about Broly because obviously Broly is a character who is missing a ton of moves. You should be able to see in the background I am playing a mod for Dragon Ball Super Broly that has him start off in Raffle and transform into all of his states. You could see how many moves that Broly has, not only from the movie, but you could see how they would easily apply to XENOVERSE 2, whether it's like Planet Crusher or his aura trapping skill when he reverses Super Saiyan God Goku's Ki Trap. You know, whether it be like a different variation of the mouth beam or the one-handed blast attack he uses, the barrier that shoots the Ki Blasts everywhere. You know, he's missing a huge heap of moves. So I think Broly, just like Frieza and just like Goku Black, counts as characters who are missing way too many moves, and they basically need it right away because 1, it makes them relevant again, 2, they're DBS villains, and 3, why not add more super attacks to a game where people can just apply them to the custom characters, even if they don't like the rest of the DLC. So yeah, I think there's always strengths to the Ultra Supervillain characters because I know a lot of people talk trash on them, and honestly I think it's pretty valid. Sometimes you don't want to just pay for a darker reskin of a character that you can already play, that you already spent extra money to buy, by the way. Goku Black and Super Saiyan God Vegeta, they didn't launch with the base game, you have to buy them. And then you have to buy them again just to get their full moveset. It's pretty scummy, but it's an effective business strategy. And I know Bandai Namco, they are kind of 50-50 on making actually good business strategies. Bandai Namco, I don't know how they do it, man. They got gachas like Dokkan and Legends, and they still somehow have a really hard time making effective business pools for, hey, this would make players buy the DLC or buy the game. When it comes to games like XENOVERSE 2 and Sparking Zero just released the DLC that has characters that nobody's hyped for other than Daima SSJ3 Vegeta, but even then, people are going to wait for the adult version before they actually give a damn. So, Bandai's 50-50 on decision making, but either way, I think even they recognize the actual benefit to the Ultra Supervillains. Ultra Supervillains are just a really easy way to line their pockets, as well as give the viewers, basically what they want, the character's full moveset. Once Planet Crusher drops or Earthbreaker, whatever Golden Frieza's ultimate attack is, the one that blows up Earth, people will love it. Probably a Strike ultimate where you punch the person into the ground, you put your hand on top of them, and it does colossal damage, or a Ki Blast ultimate, right? People are going to love that. People are also going to like having moves like Great Death Beam. Will probably be a version of Death Beam that works like Death Slicer, where it tracks the enemy. I imagine people will like that. And the same with DBS Broly, having, moves that probably get stronger the lower his health gets, or stronger the higher his Ki is, stuff like that. Because DBS really is a monster. His stats will probably be based on how low his health is or how high his Ki is when he releases the attack. They can always do cool mechanics like that. They have recently been doing cool mechanics for their supers and ultimates, so I do actually have faith in whatever they'll make next. As for the other characters in DLC 3 and 4, I really don't have any ideas for those. You guys can let me know what you think the characters will be in the comment section, because the order of those characters are pretty bizarre. A good example is that in the first Future Saga pack, we had 18 and Videl, and then Z Broly. I don't know what the correlation is. 18 and Videl made sense, right? Those are both like two main characters' wives. They're both femme fatales. They're the Dragon Ball Super version of playable female characters already. Okay, that works. That makes sense. Z Broly. Where is the correlation? That's bizarre, And then Future Saga Pack 2. Okay, well, who's the not Ultra Supervillain then? Belmont. Well, I mean, okay, I'll give him a pass because, he's the god of destruction of the guy who is the Ultra Supervillain in this saga. That makes sense. And then base form Daima Goku. What? Well, maybe because he's the promotional character. They're just trying to promote Daima, so that's why they dropped him. But there's no consistency, because okay, if Golden Frieza is DLC free, what am I supposed to assume drops with him? Tagoma from Resurrection F? Sorbet? I don't think that makes any sense. If Dispo wasn't in the game, I would have said Dispo, because he fights Dispo in the Tournament of Power. If God Destruction Topa wasn't in the game, I would have said God Destruction Topa. I believe the only option they can actually drop alongside Frieza is probably Bergamo, because you have to remember, we have every single hero vote character. We got 18. By the way, I want to remind you, 18 lost the hero vote, and they just turned it into a DLC character later anyway, so it didn't even matter. So we're definitely going to get Bergamo as well. It feels like they've probably just done all the hero vote characters, and then picked whoever won, and then saved the other ones for like paid DLC later. So yeah, Bergamo's probably going to drop alongside Frieza. I think that just makes the most sense. And with Broly, again, I have no idea what will drop alongside him. I imagine Ultra Supervillain Broly would definitely drop with Raffle Broly that can go Super Saiyan. That's the easiest thing I can imagine, because we already just got a base Broly that goes Super Saiyan in the first DLC, and it'd be nice to follow up with the final DLC, having another Broly that goes Super Saiyan. I think that just works. Broly's a super popular character. It would make sense. So at least with Ultra Supervillain Broly, there's an easy guess. Raffle Broly that goes Super Saiyan. With Frieza, I have no idea, but Frieza's DLC free. It's where Content City's fully blown up. And again, that could potentially be Broly as well. Could be. But I imagine more so it'll be Frieza because of the Frieza Force and yada yada yada. Not to mention, we just recently fought Broly alongside base Gogeta and Kefla. So I don't think they'll do another Broly plot. And Full Power Jiren. I don't think they'll do another Broly plot like so soon. I think they will save that for the last DLC. I think that makes a bit more sense. Either way, I think this is probably a good place to end the video. I've now talked about every potential DLC character I think I could. I said I would make this Broly video like straight after the Frieza one. I think the Frieza video almost has a year before this video. But I wanted to talk about Ultra Supervillain Broly because I still think that is probably one of the last two Ultra Supervillains we'll get. And alongside him, we'll definitely get base Broly that goes Super Saiyan, because again, XENOVERSE 2 is just trying to add characters that they haven't added to the game at this point. They've got basically everyone in the game, so the only options left is going to be unfinished characters and characters they haven't added to the game yet. A good example is we got Belmod's, because Belmod's model was in the files, because when they added the Festival of Universes, the big statue of Belmod is his model. It's just painted over in gold. So Xenoverse 2 is really just adding whoever they can at this point. And Broly's option makes sense, and Bergamo being added to the game, that also makes sense, because just like the other hero vote characters, he's probably just done. They just haven't, you know, just published the model yet into the game. But I think this is I think it's a good place to end the video. I want to know what you guys think overall about, you know, the characters or the DLC for Xenoverse 2. Honestly, I'm more hyped for the Xenoverse DLC than usual, because Sparking Zero did admittedly disappoint me with the last 2 DLCs. So I'm curious to see what Xenoverse 2 does. It'll probably be, you know, more nonsense like Future Saga 2. I think Future Saga Chapter 2 is like super bad. It's actually unreal. I still haven't even played the story mode for that. That's how boring that is. But I'm curious to see what they do in Future Saga 3 and Future Saga 4. And that will be it. I do love you all. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you fellas all next time. Take care and peace.